Yep, last Wednesday.
What did you think when you saw him out there?
It was good. You know, I mean, he's still learning. He's been learning a ton defensively and offensively, as we know. You know, but that was more so fundamentals, techniques. It wasn't a ton of 11 on 11, 7 on. It was more fundamentals, techniques, communication. That was what that kind of last Wednesday was, and he's been learning with those guys and meet with them extra as he's needed to.
There with the defense?
Yeah, he was out with us last Wednesday.
What did you think when you saw him out there?
I think he's pretty good. Yeah, no, fired up to have him out there, and he did a very good job, you know, getting out there, and he's done a great job with Coach Milas and Coach Lascari, a couple of the other coaches on staff, just spending time, and he's doing extra every day, so I have a ton of respect for everything that he's done to this point.
Ladies and gentlemen, day 1 and 2 of the Jacksonville Jaguars OTA practices are officially in the books. Now, day 1 was open to the media, so we have a bunch of highlights to really go over from that practice. However, what we're going to do in this video that we didn't do in yesterday's video is break down every single rep of 7 on 7 and 11 on 11. Now, I will say that the media members are not allowed to show that during these highlights, right? So we're not going to be able to see the footage, but we know what happened. So we're going to cover all of that in the video. Before we dive in, I need you guys to do me a favor and go follow all of the Jaguar media members on X or Twitter, because without them, these videos are not possible to make. And you got to give them all the credit, man, for all the footage. So go give them a follow if you haven't already done so. And with that being said, I'm just going to start, firing out some observations from 7 on 7s. And this is from Jamal St. Cyr, Jamal St. CYR on X or Twitter. So you guys can go see them for yourself if you want to. Now, let's just start with 7 on 7s. I'm, reading this straight from his X account, so keep that in mind. So 7 on 7s, first rep was a Trevor Lawrence to Brian Thomas. It was a short completed pass, not too much to gain there, but that's all right. Next play, Brian Thomas, once again, another completion. We had Buster Brown tight in coverage, but the pass was still completed. Another 7 on 7, Trevor Lawrence to Dyami Brown on the sideline, complete. Nice pass there. Trevor Lawrence again to Brian Thomas over the middle, but it was incomplete off his hands. 7 on 7s, Nick Mullins comes in to the game, or to practice. Was a coverage sack, just had nowhere to go with the football. Threw it into the dirt. Probably would have been a sack if it was a real game, but ultimately they say it was incomplete into the dirt. We also had Nick Mullins to Quinton Morris. Short pass completed. Nick Mullins threw to Joshua Cephas in a really tight window. Great throw by Nick Mullins. Looks like he is the QB2 for this team, at least heading into OTAs and mandatory minicamp. We'll see if that changes anytime soon. You look at Seth Hannigan and John Wolford. We don't really know. I think it'll probably be Nick Mullins to be that guy. Now, going forward, we also saw Nick Mullins to Austin Trammell completed. We had Jabbar Muhammad in coverage. Trevor Lawrence back into the game, or back into practice, threw an interception. Excuse me. He was looking for Dyami Brown, but Wingard, someone who's been breaking out over the past couple of weeks, has another really good play. Now, what's interesting about Andrew Wingard is right now he is listed at the number 3rd free safety spot behind Darnell Savage and Caleb Ransaw as well. Now, a guy like Andrew Wingard is slowly making his way up this depth chart, and today was another good day for him to climb up the depth chart. Now, 7 on 7s again, Trevor Lawrence found Travis Hunter with Jarian Jones in coverage. Another pass and 7 on 7s to Dyami Brown. It was incomplete, more of a 50-50 ball down the field. We know Dyami Brown's a guy that can really make things happen in space and really take a top off of defense. Did not get that one completed, but the very next play, we did have one completed to Dyami Brown. Jarian Jones was all over him in tight coverage, but a really good ball and a really great catch by Dyami Brown. John Wolford comes into the game, completion to Hunter Long down the field. Great throw, great catch, great connection between those two, because once again, another one to Hunter, long, short type of pass completed, according to Jamal St. Cyr. And then back to 11 on 11s, or not back, but to the first kind of portion of 11 on 11s. This is where things got a little bit interesting. We had a handoff to Tank Bigsby. We saw Trevor Lawrence to Travis Hunter. Dropped down the field. Devin Lloyd was in, I believe, a mid-read type of coverage where obviously a linebacker drops back all the way up the seams. Just Hunter could not come down with it. And again, we want to see that versatility from Hunter. We really do. Now, another thing to monitor. Travis Etienne was not at practice today, guys. It seems like he had a flight issue, but we're not too certain. That's what Liam Cohen said at practice. So Tuin was taking a lot of reps during today's practice as a starter with Trevor Lawrence. Had a handoff to Tuin in 11-on-11s. We actually had another completion to De'Ami Brown. Completion over the middle. Saw Ransaw and Zach McPherson, the former Philadelphia Eagle, in coverage. Here's Wingard right here. Guy with an interception in today's practice. He looks pretty damn good. Back to Nick Mullins in 11-on-11s. He had one to Austin Trammell over the middle of the field. Also had one to Cam Camper on a little short pass. Another one to Austin Trammell. So they were really, really targeting these guys over the middle. Short, intermediate throws. Not putting too much air underneath it. Didn't see much from Parker Washington today. Or yesterday, I should say. Nick Mullins to Cam Camper. That one was a touchdown. Beat Slaughter and Lane down the field. Got some air under that one. We had a short pass completed to Tank Bigsby from Trevor Lawrence. We had one batted down at the line of scrimmage by Josh Hines-Allen. We had De'Ami Brown catch another one, but looks like Eric Armstead would have came down with the sack. Here's some special teams drills, by the way. Keelan Robinson looks like he could be a main factor in special teams. Not too surprised there. Trevor Lawrence had one completed to Brian Thomas again. John Wolford had an incompletion looking for Jackson. Eli Pincole had one completed to him by John Wolford. Back to 11-on-11s with the starters. Trevor Lawrence had one to De'Ami Brown. And then had an incompletion to De'Ami Brown as well on a deep throw. Now, guys, real quickly, before we get any further into this video, do me a big favor. Hit the like button if you haven't already done so. But more importantly, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. If you are new, it is free. It doesn't cost anything. And we got you guys covered throughout all of OTAs, all of mandatory minicamp, and then all of training camp as well. So if you want me to cover every single practice, make sure you guys join the family, turning on post notifications. And with that being said, let's get right back into it. Let's power through this. Trevor Lawrence, incompletion of Parker Washington, handoff to Tank. He ultimately slips, loses a yard or two. We had one thrown to Tank back in 7-on-7s. It was a double catch, so he initially dropped it, caught it again. Don't love to see those. That's why Tuin's going to be here, probably playing a good amount, or Travis Etienne. Trevor Lawrence had De'Ami Brown. Again, De'Ami Brown he seemed like he was a safety net, to be honest with you, for Trevor Lawrence. Just short, intermediate routes, get him the ball in space and let him work. Trevor Lawrence also hit Brenton Strange, who seems to be the day one starter for this football team. It was a great catch on the sideline, like a 50-50 catch. And man, he snagged that thing, brought it down. Great catch by Brenton Strange. He had a great day. We had one short completed to Parker Washington down the sideline. But when it came to it, I thought today was a very good day for the Jaguars. More clean, a lot of completions, whether it be 2 to 3 yards. They just found the way to get the ball to their playmakers. So that was a good thing that we saw from today's practice.